Today's consumerism is driven by algorithms driving people farther away from originality and authenticity as they search for the very thing that they unknowingly distance themselves from. Online influencers market this idea of individuality, but when you sell to the masses, the individual is no longer singular. This emphasis on individuality has led the masses to languish in a mimicry of celebrities and wealth, but everyone is emulating the same icons, being influenced by the same influencers. Is the resulting fashion amalgamation truly personal style? My fashion observances are just a small signifier of a larger trend in society, specifically for Gen Z and Gen A. This paradoxical cycle of attempting to signal uniqueness while taking from mass-produced sources is a sort of collective flocking that I can only describe as the hive mindset. Merriam-Webster defines the hive mind as the collective thoughts, ideas, and opinions of a group of people, such as internet users, regarded as functioning together as a single mind. Through the lens of education, I propose that our current society breeds collectivity while preaching individuality, leading to the creation of societal participants who lack critical thinking skills, individual identity, and independence. In his article, De-Individuation, author David McRaney discusses the science behind the hive mind and how to minimize it. In large social settings, the psychological onset of the hive mind, triggered by anonymity, group size, and arousal, such as emotional motivation, causes a diffusion of emotions and morals and responsibilities, and your normal individuality is completely suppressed. Decisions are then guided by the atmosphere and other group members rather than yourselves. Now, students will be in a constant state of mass gathering or listening to many particularly gut-wrenching speeches or gut-stirring speeches, but these tend to inform exactly what components to target when thinking about how to combat the hive mindset. There are several societal phenomena that I also propose lead to de-individuation, that being the lack of third places in our society, the epidemic of loneliness, and the overexposure paradigm. The lack of third places in our current city model has resulted in increased loneliness, a lack of sense of community, and a general decline in mental health. Third places are locations where people can socialize, relax, and rejuvenate away from the stressors of work and separately from the domesticity of home. In an article for BBC, Angela Henshaw details that the pandemic caused the intimacy of home and the professionalism of work to collapse into one space, while the locations previously used to alleviate stress from either of those locations was also taken away. And people have never been more isolated. This lack of third spaces, in conjunction with the overreaching prevalence of the internet and social media, has made for adolescents who do not know what it means to regularly socialize with community members. That saying kids never go outside these days is more true than ever, but it's not due to anything that the children have done. They were born or stuck into a system that does not prioritize the importance of community building, identity construction, or mental health maintenance. These kids turn to social media for moral support and reinforcement, but once the screen is off, that connection to their online friends is severed. Not only is making online friends potentially dangerous, it doesn't give the adolescents a social context for how to behave with real people. There's a general consensus on social media that this younger generation is out of control, but these preteens are the first generation of iPad kids and the result of COVID schooling. They were not actively in a classroom where they would have learned social skills from their peers and their teachers. They were socialized by screens. While Gen A may have spent majority of their lives surrounded by technology, they have arguably the least amount of critical thinking and media literacy skills, and this is part of a phenomenon called the overexposure paradigm. Online, these young adults and teens are bombarded with an overload of information, yet their subpar schooling has not prepared them to digest information critically. Again, with this extreme abundance of technology, students are reading less now than they have ever before. The Substack user Kyle Fitzpatrick reflects on his theory as to why kids these days can't read. My theory, which is related to parents, is something that we all experience and know and deal with every day. It rolls downhill. In our jobs, more work is placed on us for less money, as people at the top seem to profit off our labor. In our free time, we watch videos and play games, and we don't have any time to read. We don't have time for our own lives. We don't have time to parent. Parents also lost their third places, and now not only are they trying just to live in their home, they are also working in the same place and now acting as supplemental school proctors for their children. It's task overload. Parents simply do not have the bandwidth to supplement their children's education at home, and this is extremely detrimental because reading literature is how one exercises the ability to think critically. Kids are put at a systemic disadvantage and are predisposed to the hive mindset. Often they are not given the tools that they need to fight back against this push for collectivity. In the epidemic of standardized testing and the deprioritization of content and pedagogy, clearly the current educational system is aiming to suppress students' individuality at a time when they so desperately need to be catered to per their own specific needs, which begs the question, is pushing back against this all-reaching hive mind agenda even feasible? I think it can be done through schools. Schools are meant to prepare students to be the citizens of tomorrow's society. By targeting students' need for community and the struggle with critical thinking and media literacy, a strong sense of self, pushing back against this systemized collectivity is possible. By utilizing project-based learning and emphasizing the reconstruction of identity, educators can target all the aforementioned areas of need. PBL blends content mastery, meaningful work, and personal connection to create powerful learning experiences in terms of both academic achievement and students' personal growth, according to the Buck Institute for Education. PBL projects can help students build a sense of community amongst themselves as they are designed to encourage skills like taking initiative, learning responsibility, problem solving, team collaboration, and communication. And as an added benefit, they get to use these online resources that the students are so familiar with in a new and academic way. In the book For Schooling for Resilience, researchers found that the most successful portion of their schools for at-risk students was their efforts to deconstruct negative ideas and stereotypes regarding their student demographic and reframing their identities to build self-confidence and thus produce higher achieving students. In order to target the building of strong self-identity, implementing initiatives to build strong teacher-student support relationships and award systems like honor roll may help to positively reinforce that everything PBL lays the foundation for and ultimately make a final pushback against the hive mind collective in public schools. Thank you for watching.